Hello, everybody. Anyone up for a murder mystery? Today, I am recording whole 2 weeks early. Tomorrow, there is a heat wave that starts in my area. It's still May. We are expecting to have 31 degrees Celsius during it, and it should last for several weeks. So I'm just thinking that my activity level probably won't be ideal during that time. So it's kind of wiser to record now. May has been so incredibly hectic. For some reason, my workload increased like 300%, and everybody wants to make plans at all times, so I'm just swamped with life. I hope that everybody else is doing better and more calmer than that. Anyway, we start the murder mystery by talking to a guard. The thing that kind of worries me is that in this area, for some reason, there's like absolutely no sound. Like, normally there should be music, and there's just no music. What's going on here? Oh, it's terrible. Lord Sinclair has been murdered, and we don't have any clues as to who or why. We're totally baffled. If you can help us, we will be so very grateful. I will help you, though offering a civilian to help you on your murder investigation is probably not very responsible. Sure, I'll help. Thanks a lot. What should I be doing to help? Look around and investigate who might be responsible. The Sarge said every murder leaves clues to who done it, but frankly, we're out of our depth here. Okay, well, this place has... We probably shouldn't ask the cows, right? But there's like Bob and Pear and a guy named Gossip. I'm investigating the murder that's up at the Sinclair place. I feel like we're exposing extra information to people that shouldn't have it. Murder, is it? Well, I'm not really surprised. What can you tell me about the Sinclairs? Well, what do you want to know? Tell me about the Lord Sinclair. Old Lord Sinclair was a great man with a lot of respect in these parts. More than his worthless children have anyway. His children! They have something to gain by this death. Yes, you could say that. Not that I'm one to gossip, says a guy named Gossip. No. Continue gossiping, please. You're interesting, and you're like right at the door over here. Why do the Sinclairs live so far from town? And why is this where music comes to die, apparently? Because this lack of sound is nerving me with a game that's normally filled with sound. Well, they used to live in the big castle, but old Lord Sinclair gave it up so that those strange knights could live there instead. Ooh, the Black Knights? Oof. So the king built him a new home to the north. It's more cramped than his old place, but he seemed to like it. His children were furious at him for doing it, though. So it keeps on pointing to his kids. What can you tell me about his sons? His sons, eh? They all have their own skeletons in their cupboards. You'll have to be more specific. What are you interested in exactly? He had a lot of children. Tell me about Bob. Bob is an odd character indeed. I'm not one to gossip, says Gossip, but I heard Bob is addicted to tea. He can't make it through the day without having at least 20 cups. You might not think that's such a big thing, but he has spent thousands of gold to feed his habit. At one point he stole a lot of silverware from the kitchen and pawned it just so that he can afford to buy his daily tea allowance. If his father ever found out, he would be in so much trouble. He might even get disowned. I imagine they're all gonna have their own reasons. His sons. Tell me about David. David, oh David, not many people know this, but David really has an anger problem. He's always screaming and shouting at the household servants when he's angry, and they live in a state of fear, always walking on eggshells around him, but none of them have the courage to talk to his father about his behavior. If they did, Lord Sinclair would almost certainly kick him out of the house, as some of the servants have been there longer than he has, and he definitely has no right to treat them like he does. But I'm not the one to gossip about people. Mm-hmm. You're definitely not the one to gossip about people. Tell me about Frank. I'm not one to talk ill about people behind their back, but Frank is the real piece of work. He is an absolute terrible gambler. He can't pass two dogs in the street without putting a bet on which one will bark first. He has already squandered all of his allowance, and I heard he had stolen a number of paintings of his father's to sell to try to cover his debt. But he still owes a lot of people a lot of money. If his father ever found out, he would stop his income, and then he would be in serious trouble. Now let's talk about the daughters. They're all nasty pieces of work, according to this man. So there's 3 sons and 3 daughters. Tell me about Anna. I am psychic, by the way, in this game, because I am knowing of their names before even, like, looking into the rest of this place. Anna, yes, Anna. Anna has 2 great loves, sewing and gardening. But one thing she has kept secret is that she once had an affair with Stanford the gardener and tried to get him fired when they broke up. By killing all of the flowers in the garden. If her father ever found out she had done that, he would be furious. He would probably disown her. This guy is about to disown his whole family. Help! They should all murder him together. What about Carol? Oh, Carol, she is such a fool. You didn't hear this from me, but I've heard a while ago she was conned out of a lot of money by a traveling salesman who sold her a box full of beans by telling her they were magic. But they weren't. She sold some rare books from the library to cover her debts, but her father would be incredibly annoyed if he ever found out. He might even throw her out of the house. Don't worry, apparently he's already throwing everybody out of the house, so it's fine. What did the last one do? Tell me about Elizabeth. Elizabeth has a strange problem. She cannot help herself, but is always stealing small objects. It's pretty sad, but she is rich enough to afford to buy things, but would rather steal them instead. Now, I don't want to spread stories, but I heard she even stole a silver needle from her father that had great sentimental value to him. He was devastated when it was lost and cried for a week thinking he lost it. If he ever found out that it was her who had stolen it, he would absolutely go mental, maybe even disowning her. Okay, so you have so many negative opinions and gossip. Who do you think is responsible? Well, I guess it could have been an intruder, but with that big guard dog of theirs, I seriously doubt it. I suspect it was someone closer to home. Especially as I heard that the poison salesman in Sears Village made a big sale to one of the family the other day. I think the butler did it. I think you've been reading too many cheap detective novels. Hobbs is kind of uptight, but his loyalty to old Lord Sinclair is beyond question. So we have gotten all the gossip out of the gossip man. There's a Bob in here. We do have a lead that there's a poison salesman in Sears Village, so we should like go down and talk to him. Because mind you, this is Sinclair Mansion and this is the Sears Village, so it's not even like that far. It's like the closest thing to them. I'm here to help the guards with their investigation. I suppose I had better talk to you then. Who do you think was responsible? I don't really care as no one thinks it's me. Maybe it was that strange poison seller who headed towards the Sears village. Where were you when the murder happened? I was walking by myself in the garden. And can anyone vouch for that? No, but I was. Yeah, that's not a great start. There's a large number of insects at the base of the fountain. So somebody was poisoning the insects, maybe? Who does Pierre think is responsible? Honestly, I think it was Carol. I saw her in a huge argument with Lord Sinclair in the library the other day. It was something to do with stolen books. She definitely seemed upset enough to have done it afterwards. Where were you at the time of the murder? I was in town at the inn. When I got back to the house, was swarming with guards who told me what had happened. Sorry. Did you hear any suspicious noises at all? Well, like what? Any sounds of struggle with Lord Sinclair? No, I don't remember hearing anything like that. How about the guard dog barking at all? I heard him bark all the time. It's one of his favorite things to do. I can't say I did the night of the murder, though, as I wasn't close enough to hear either way. That is the dog, and it is definitely barking. Muting this thing makes a noise, but nothing else. So, there's also I assume that's the gardener. Who does the gardener think was responsible? It was Anna. She's seriously unbalanced. She trashed the garden once and tried to blame it on me. I bet it was her. It's just her kind of thing to do. She really hates me and was arguing with Lord Sinclair about trashing the garden a few days ago. Where were you at the time of the murder? Right here, by my little shed. It's very cozy to sit and think in. I don't suppose anyone can, vouch for the gardener sitting in his little shed? Did you hear any suspicious noises at all? Not that I can remember. So no sounds of struggle between Lord Sinclair and intruder? Not to the best of my recollection. How about the guard dog barking? Not that I can recall. So the guard dog hasn't barked at all. So it probably definitely wasn't this poison salesman, unless the poison salesman is very familiar to this family, like he visits this place very often. And I don't think that he does. So it was probably one of the family members. I can validate Pierre? Yeah, I'm gonna take the flypaper. I'm gonna take a lot of flypaper. I can use it for fingerprints. No, I already took a lot of flypaper. But I don't even know what the murder weapon is, or... I don't suppose I could clean their drain with it. No, I can't. Okay. So Pierre says he was at the pub. Somebody at the pub might have seen Pierre, so... investigating the pub might be a good idea. I am very suspicious at the fact that there was apparently no... There was no struggle, but he was stabbed and he was drinking from something before he died, so he could have, what, been poisoned and then stabbed? The knife doesn't seem sturdy enough to have killed Lord Sinclair. So is this just like something that throws us off? I guess we don't think that there are any fingerprints on these. There's nothing in the drawers. Hello, Frank! Can you spare me any money? I'm a little short. No. Who do you think was responsible? I don't know. You don't know how long it takes an inheritance to come through, do you? I could really use some money pretty soon. Where were you when the murder happened? I don't know, somewhere around here probably. Can you spare me a few coins? Jesus Christ, so this guy is very, very desperate for money to a point where he's not very cooperative with the investigation. Make this quick, I have better things to do than be interrogated by half-wits all day. Who do you think was responsible? I don't really know or care. Frankly, the old man deserved to die. There was a suspicious red-headed man who came to the house the other day selling poison, now that I think about it. Last I saw he was headed towards the tavern in the Sears village. Yeah, but the dog would have barked at him. Where were you when the murder happened? This is none of your business. Are we finished now, or are you just going to stand there irritating me with your idiotic questions all day? This is very much my business. I am trying to help with the investigation, you know. Hello, Hobbs. I'm here to help the guards with their investigation. How can I help? Who do you think is responsible? Well, in my considered opinion, it must be David. The man is nothing more than a bully, and I happen to know that poor Lord Sinclair and David had a massive argument in the living room about the way he treats the staff the other day. I did not intend to overhear the conversation, but they were shouting so loudly I could not help but overhear it. David definitely used the words, "I am going to kill you" as well. I think he should be the prime suspect. He has a nasty temper, that one. There were now 3 arguments that have occurred, and there's a gossip man at the door telling me that all of them have a reason to murder their father. Where were you at the time of the murder? I was assisting the cook with the evening meal. I gave Mary his lordship's dinner and sent her to take it to him, then heard the scream as she found the dead body. Okay. Any suspicious noises? How do you mean suspicious? Any sounds of struggle with Lord Sinclair? No, I definitely didn't hear anything like that. How about the guard dog barking at all? You know, now that you come to mention it, I don't believe I did. I suppose that is proof enough that it is not an intruder who is responsible. So his evening meal never got to him. Okay, Anna, who do you think is responsible? It was clearly an intruder. I don't think it was. It was one of our lazy servants, then. Where were you when the murder happened? In the library. No one else was there? So you'll have to take my word for it. So far, every single suspicion person outside of, like, Pierre, that was all like, oh yeah, I was just... I was out. I was at the pub. Everybody else is either answering with none of your business to where they were, or they're just telling me that they were alone. Remember to blow out the candles when you leave the room to save energy. But I mean, I'm very energy conscious in my own house because electricity costs a lot, so seeing somebody being candle conscious is a bit funny. To be fair, it would have been a big deal. So not super surprised. I'm here to help the guards with their investigation. How can I help? Who do you think is responsible? Elizabeth. Her father confronted her about her constant petty thieving and was devastated to find she had stolen a silver needle which had meant a lot to him. You could hear their argument from Lumbridge. So this is 4 people that have argued with their father before the death now. Where were you at the time of the murder? I was right here with Hobbs and Mary. You can't suspect me, surely. Well, everybody's a suspect at the moment. Did you hear any suspicious noises at all? Suspicious, what do you mean? Any sounds of struggle with an intruder, for example? No, I'm sure I don't recall any such thing. How about the guard dog barking at an intruder? No, I didn't. If you don't have anything else, can You go and leave me alone now. I have a lot to do this evening. I don't think that you're doing anything this evening. There's a murder investigation going on. Could I get some flour? Can I just dunk things in flour? Apparently, I'm not supposed to use the evidence from the crime scene to store flour. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go get me a flower pot because if we covered these things with flour, then surely we can get fingerprints with the fly paper, right? And then we would only need a personal item from everybody else to compare their fingerprints to. The game sounds so much better when there is music. Well, that's very clearly the poison salesman. I'm investigating the murder at the Sinclair house. There was a murder at the Sinclair house? That's terrible! And I was only there the other day too. They bought the last of my patented multi-purpose poison. Patented multi-purpose poison? Ah, a miracle of modern apothecaries! The exclusive concoction has been tested on all known forms of life and have been proven to kill them in varying delusions from cockroaches to king dragons. So incredibly versatile, it can be used as pest control, a cleaning agent, drain cleaner, metal polish, and washes whiter than white. All with our uniquely fragrant concoction that is immediately recognizable across the land as Peter Potter's patented poison potion. That is a lot of peace. I would love to sell you some, but I sold out recently. That's just how good it is. 328 people in this area alone cannot be wrong. 9 out of 10 poisoners prefer it in controlled tests. Can I help you with anything else? Perhaps I can take your name and add it to our mailing list of poison users? We will only send you information related to the use of the poison and other Peter Potter products. No, I'm okay. Really. Honestly, maybe don't praise your poison inside a murder investigation, I don't know. So I can't just, like, offer him the pungent pot, which is a shame because I would want to ask him if it smells like his poison. Who did you sell the poison to at the house? Well, Peter Potter's patented multi-purpose poison is a product of such obvious quality that I'm glad to say I managed to sell a bottle to each of the Sinclairs. Anna, Bob, Carol, David, Elizabeth, and Frank all bought a bottle. In fact, they bought the last of my supplies. Maybe I can take your name and address, and I will personally come and visit you on stock's return. I'm okay. I have the spot I found at the murder scene. You show the poison salesman the pot you found at the murder scene with unusual smell. Yes, the smell is exactly like my patented multi-purpose poison. But I don't see how it could be. It quite clearly says on the label of all bottles, not to be taken internally, extremely poisonous. Perhaps someone else put it in this wine? Yes, I suppose that could have happened. Okay, so somebody definitely poisoned the father. And I can't really ask the bartender if he saw Pierre in here. So I suppose I'm not supposed to verify Pierre's alibi. But none others even have an alibi, so I don't think that that's super important. Yeah, I don't think that there's any like special NPC that could verify Pierre's alibi. But now we know that this pot definitely was poisoned. So if we could find an empty poison bottle, we would know by whom. Also the poison, oh god. Will be hard to get fingerprints because the poison pot would have been touched by multiple people. It would still be better to try and rule out who hasn't touched this pot, I guess. That would still, like, rule out some people for me. So Oh, thank God, now there's sound of some sort. I was just sitting here in silence for a while. This surface isn't shiny enough to take a fingerprint from. Shame. Okay, so I can't fingerprint this. I can't fingerprint the dagger. So let's do it like this. That's the dagger fingerprint. We can't fingerprint the pot. I wish that I could like make notes in my inventory. This is Bob's silver cup. So Bob's print. Oh right, it actually tells me whose print this is. That's good. I'm just gonna throw all of their belongings on the floor. Screw these people. Nice that you don't need it. I need your flour. That's Anna's print. Right, I want more flypaper. And I'll have to raid all of their rooms. Like, all of them. There's 6 people in the family. So I'll probably want 4 more flypapers. That might be enough, but like, I'm pretty sure that you got poisoned first. Okay, it isn't Bob or Anna who touched the dagger. And I suppose that the fingerprints are only for the dagger. So let me just take more flour again. And this is Carol's room. But she doesn't have a belonging on her, that's a problem. That's David's room. David has a silver book, Jesus. Well, at least it's shiny enough for a fingerprint. Okay. Killer's print and David's print match. So, we know who stabbed the poisoned father. But what about who poisoned the father to begin with? Anyway, we haven't finished interviewing people. I'm here to help guards with their investigation. Who do you think was responsible? I don't know. I think it's very convenient that you have arrived here so soon after it happened. Maybe it was you. Oh, yes, because, you know, that's very believable. Where were you when the murder has happened? Why? Are you accusing me of something? You seem to have a very high opinion of yourself. I was in my room, if you must know, alone. Why did you buy poison the other day? I don't see what on earth it has to do with you, but the drain outside was blocked. And as nobody else here has the intelligence to unblock a simple drain, I felt I had to do it myself. So Carol says that the drain is blocked. What about what Mary says? Who do you think is responsible? Oh, I don't know. Frank was acting kind of funny. After the big argument him and Lord had the other day by the beehive, so I guess maybe him. But it's really scary to think that someone here might be responsible. Actually hope it was a burglar. Where were you at the time of the murder? I was with Hobbs and Louise in the kitchen helping to prepare Lord Sinclair's meal, and then when I took it to his study, I saw, oh, it was horrible. He was murdered and she's upset about it. Did you hear any suspicious noises at all? I don't remember hearing anything out of the ordinary. No sounds of struggle then? No, I don't remember hearing anything like that. How about the guard dog barking? Oh, that horrible dog is always barking at nothing, but I don't think I did. Do you know why so much poison was brought recently? I overheard Anna saying to Stanford that if he didn't do something about the state of his compost heap, she was gonna to. She really doesn't get on well with Stanford. I really have no idea why. You'll really have to ask her, though. Okay. So Carol poisoned the drain. Anna might have poisoned the compost heap. Very convenient that everybody got poisoned at the same day. Who do you think was responsible? Could have been anyone. The old man was an idiot. He's been asking for it for years. Where were you when the murder happened? I was out. Care to be any more specific? Not really. I don't have to justify myself to the likes of you, you know. Wow, all of you are rotten. How about we just arrest the whole family? That would make me very happy. Why did you buy poison the other day? There was a nest of mosquitoes under the fountain in the garden, which I killed with poison the other day. You can see for yourself if you're capable of managing that, which I somehow doubt. I hate mosquitoes, doesn't anyone? So, Elizabeth is probably saying the truth. Either that or she bought more poison than mosquitoes would require. Because we did examine the fountain, and the fountain had dead mosquitoes in it. Large numbers of insects at the base, so probably wasn't the poisoner. Can I take a bit of the drain? It comes from the kitchen, apparently. So from here, right? This is the kitchen. Did you know why so much poison was brought? I told Carol to buy some from the strange poison salesman and clean the drains before they began to smell any worse. She was the one who blocked them in the first place with a load of beans that she brought for some reason. There were far too many to eat, and they were almost rotten when she bought them anyway. You really have to ask her, though. Okay, so she kind of has an alibi because the lady in the kitchen is confirming her. What about the compost heap? I can't take any compost from the compost heap. So, do you know why so much poison was brought recently? Well, Bob mentioned to me the other day that he wanted to get rid of the bees in the hive over there. I think I saw him buying poison from the poison salesman the other day. I assume it was to sort out the bees. You would really have to ask him, though. So, one of them was gonna poison the compost? And I don't know if they did it or not. The fountain was poisoned, the drains were cleaned. I seem to be bad at this investigating stuff, but Bob said that he was gonna use it for a beehive. And one of the girls upstairs wanted to use theirs for the compost. But I'm not entirely sure if they actually, like, did the usage of it or not. Where is Bob? There's Bob. Why did you buy poison the other day? What's in it to you anyway? You absolutely must know we had a problem with the beehive in the garden. As all of our servants are so pathetically useless, I decided I would deal with it myself, so I did. Okay, at the very least, he and the servants are saying the exact same thing. Why was so much poison brought recently? Well, I know David said he was going to do something about the spider's nest that's between the two servants' quarters upstairs. He made a big deal about it to Mary, the maid, calling her useless and incompetent. Feel quite sorry for her, actually. You'll have to ask him, though. So, David possibly also has an alibi? But also, David stabbed his father. So, there's that. Why did you buy poison the other day? There was a nest of spiders upstairs between the two servants' quarters. Obviously, I had to kill them before our pathetic servants whined at my father some more. Honestly, it's like they expect to be treated like royalty. If I had my way, I would fire the whole work-shy lot of them. And then what? Do your own housework? Because that seems very likely. Let me outdoor. I have places to be. Mainly servants. This is the servants' quarters. That's the spider's nest. There is a spider's nest here. You estimate there must be at least a few hundred spiders ready to hatch. It's certainly clear nobody used poison here. Is it David then? Is it David? Because his poison alibi does not check out. He got poisoned and stabbed. The hell happened, David? I think I know who did it. I have fingerprints of the culprit. I have David's fingerprints here. You can see for yourself that they match the fingerprints on the murder weapon exactly. I'm impressed. How on earth did you think of something like that? I never heard of such a technique for finding criminals before. This will come in very handy in the future, but we can't arrest someone on just this. I'm afraid you'll still need to find more evidence before we can close this case completely. Yeah, but also, one of them lied about poisoning the spiders. I have proof that David is lying about the poison. Oh really? How did you get that? There's a spider nest, he didn't use his poison, the cup was poisoned. That's some good detective work here. We need more evidence before we can close the case though. Keep up the good work. What else do you want from me? David did the poison. And David did the stabbing. What's left? Is it because I just haven't talked with absolutely everybody yet? What about the address form? Apply now for great savings. Don't let this great deal pass by. Nothing on the bookcases. Family handyman. Who do you think was responsible? I really couldn't say. I wouldn't really want to point the fingers at anybody. If I had to make a guess, I would say it was probably Bob, though. Saw him having an argument with Lord Sinclair about some missing silverware from the kitchen. Was a very heated argument. Yeah, but every single one of those children argued about something. Where were you at the time of the murder? Me? I was sound asleep here in the servants' quarters. It was very hard work as a handyman around here. There's always something to do. Any suspicious noises at all? So you didn't hear any sounds of struggle or any barking from the dog? Now that you mention it, no. It is odd. I didn't hear anything like that. But I do sleep very soundly, as I said, and I wouldn't necessarily have heard it if there was any such noise. Right. Do you know why so much poison was brought recently? Frank bought some poison recently to clean the family's chest that's outside. It's very odd and rusty, and I couldn't clean it myself, so he said he would buy some cleaner and clean it himself. He probably just got some from the poison salesman who came to the door the other day. You would have to ask him, though. Okay. Did I talk with her? Pretty sure I talked with her. Yeah, she did the fountain, so I did talk with her. So every family member was interviewed. Handyman was interviewed. Servants were interviewed. It's just the same guard, effectively. Maybe I could press David for confession? Nah, the answers didn't change. Chest outside. There's a family chest outside somewhere. Oh, it's family crest. Shiny and freshly polished and has a smell of poison, so it wasn't Frank. As you approach the gate, the guard dog, Dargbog, starts barking loudly at you. There is no way an intruder could have committed the murder. Must have been someone the dog knew that could get past it quietly. It's David. I'm pretty sure that it's David. I don't... What else could I be missing? Hello? Excuse me? How did he die? It was very mysterious. Mary the maid found the body in the study next to the bedroom on the east wing of the ground floor. The door was found locked from the inside, and he seemed to have been stabbed, but there was an odd smell in the room. Frankly, I'm stumped. So somebody climbed in through the window, then. He was like, search for clues. The window is here. And it's smashed. Some thread seems to have been caught on the loose nail on the window. Thread is green. Does David have anything green on him? He's dressed in green. Jesus. Will this be enough? Like, I looked at the murder weapons, I got the fingerprints off them, I talked to the poison salesman, and the guard is still like, nah, not enough evidence. How much evidence do you need? Have conclusive proof who the killer was. You do. That's excellent word. Let's hear it then. Don't think it was an intruder, and I don't think Lord Sinclair was killed by being stabbed. Really? Why not? Nobody heard the dog barking, which it would have if it had been an intruder who was responsible. Nobody heard any signs of struggle either. Think the knife was there to throw suspicion away from the real culprit. Yes, that makes sense, but who did it then? You proved to the guard the thread matches David's clothes. I would have to agree with that, but we need more evidence. You proved to the guard David did not use the poison on the spider's nest. Excellent work! Have you considered the career as a detective? But I'm afraid it's still not quite enough. You matched David's fingerprints with those on the dagger found in the body of Lord Sinclair. Yes, there's no doubt who did it. There we go, finally. I needed a thread. It must have been David who killed his father. All of the guards must congratulate you on your excellent work in helping us solve the case. We don't have many murders here in Gillinor, and I'm afraid we wouldn't have been able to solve it by ourselves. We will hold him here under house arrest under such time as we bring him to trial. You have our gratitude, and I'm sure the rest of the family as well, in helping to apprehend the murderer. I'll just take the evidence from you now. Please accept this reward from the family. So I got 1,000 crafting XP, which is whatever, but I also got 2,000 coins, which is also a bit whatever, but This was fairly enjoyable if I completely ignore the fact that you probably could have, done the murderer in with about half the evidence. You didn't need that last piece of thread. But okay, I am very proud that I haven't, gotten myself lost and that I managed to do this. This was very straightforward, though a lot of talking with absolutely everyone. So my throat's a bit tired after all of that. Either way, good quest. I'm glad that we did it. I wish that this whole family could be arrested instead. So, thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for my Patreon supporters. And I'm gonna see you again in the next episode. Toodaloo!